Drew Fry, joined by Mike Moss. It's time for some more TinChattin. Mike, welcome in. We're going to jump straight into the biggest news of this past week, the MLB trade deadline. Boy, did that hit the Tin Caps hard.
Once again.
Yeah. It's a common recurrence
Shades
here.
of the last about 3 or 4 years where some exceptional talent that has come through Fort Wayne have departed the San Diego organization, trades to other teams, and the same thing happened this past, actually going back through the weekend, starting with current Tin Cap players.
You had 3 current Tin Caps within this past week that have now been shipped off somewhere else.
Yeah, and it started Sunday morning. Lesko was supposed to be the starting pitcher. Homer Bush Jr. was slated to bat leadoff and play in center field, as he's done most of the season. And all of a sudden, they find out that they're traded. They're part of a trade.
I mean, when you're about to take the field like that, and, you know, especially, I mean, you're getting ready for the game to start, and to find out within hours before the start that your starting pitcher and your center fielder are gone. I mean, what's that like?
It's got to be crazy. And we'll take it one step further. Tuesday night, before the first game of the series with Dayton, Tin Caps are finishing up batting practice. Jay Bashirs, who was promoted earlier this year from Single A Lake Elsinore, was finishing up his batting practice in his group. And after he finished, manager Mike Daly came to him and said, "We need to talk." And we found out that he was part of a trade. All of a sudden, instead of getting ready to play the game, you got to gather your clothes. You got to say goodbye to your now former teammates. That's not an easy thing to do.
I'm sure it's an emotional experience, especially as these guys have kind of bonded throughout the season, been on these road trips together.
But those are current Tin Caps that were involved in trades.
Yeah.
But some other former Tin Caps, big moves, especially to the 2 teams from the state of Florida, the Miami Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, we saw Graham Pauley on the move, Adam Mazer on the move.
Robbie Snelling.
Yep.
He's got an outstanding future. They go to Miami, and what the Padres got in return was one of the best closers in all of baseball, and left-hander Tanner Scott. So I think that the future is bright for the former Tin Caps. I think they're going to get a better chance to play, perhaps.
Yeah, so in these coming years, we could see some of these guys that, you know, we just lost from this Fort Wayne team, you know, contributing across, across baseball. There's a lot of former Tin Caps, not even in the Padres organization, but just across baseball that are making names for themselves.
This year alone, there have been 50 former Tin Caps that at one time or another have been playing in the major leagues. That's this season alone.
I wonder how many other high A affiliates can say that right now.
I'm not sure. But in terms of what I like to call the alumni honor roll, there have now been 225 former, be it Wizards or Tin Caps, that have made it to the major leagues.
Wow.
225, and we are in year 31 as a franchise. So if you do some quick, what I call Michigan math, because I'm a native of Michigan, you're looking at, from a number standpoint, roughly 8 players a year, have gone on to make it to the bigs. Fort Wayne has been a good base of operations for potential and come to be major league players.
Oh, definitely. And as we look at some of these guys that have left this Tin Caps team, real quick, almost in memoriam for the Fort Wayne aspect of it, but what are the Tin Caps going to be losing, and what are these other teams going to be getting out of Jay Bashirs, Dylan Lesko, and Homer Bush Jr.?
Dylan Lesko was the #3 pitching prospect in the San Diego organization. His bread and butter pitch is the changeup.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at his numbers this year, he was 1-9. But he had some outstanding starts.
Yeah, the strikeout numbers were high.
These are guys who have only been professionals for, at best, 3 years. Most of them either 1 or 2 years.
Jay Bashirs.
Jay Bashirs was promoted from Lake Elsinore earlier this year. In Fort Wayne, he had the roughest year in terms of hitting. At Lake Elsinore, I think it was like 54 games, give or take, and he batted .320.
Oh, yeah.
Hit over 300 everywhere he went, high school, college, professionals. Started out well here in Fort Wayne. then ran into some problems because there is a difference between low A and high A. But they all have a good chance to move up. It's kind of nice to see that they did have a stopover here in the Summit City, but they've achieved their goals, to at least to a degree, by making it all the way to the bigs.
Yeah.
Others still have a little bit of work to do, but you look at a guy like Joey Cantillo, who was a tremendous talent, great guy to talk to. He got to pitch at Philadelphia last week.
Yeah, outside of a couple long balls by Schwarber, another kind of Indiana native guy, but outside of that, he looked solid. Struck out Bryce Harper in that start.
And another player who was from Indiana, the Tin Caps are seeing this week, in center fielder Max Clark. I want to say he's got 8 hits already in 3 games in this series.
Yeah, and Jagger Haynes generally kept him in check. Jagger, I
Yes.
think, struck him out twice, so a lot
He
of
struck
talent.
out 3 times on Wednesday
Yeah.
night, but he had a couple of more hits Thursday.
Oh, and he still got hit on Wednesday, I think, too.
Yeah, so, and he's the real deal.
Yeah.
He is the real deal. Only 19 years of age, 3-time Indiana Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Indiana.
And we can see him in the big leagues pretty soon, possibly.
The Tigers could use him. They're my team. I'm from Detroit. They can use all the help they can get.
You can get a little bit of Indiana flavor up to that Detroit team and maybe spark some offense there.
Hopefully so. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's sad that players are traded, but that's the nature of the business in baseball.
Oh, of course.
General managers are always looking for what they hope will be a diamond in the rough.
And the last guy we haven't even talked about much is Homer Bush. I know you and I have talked about him a lot over these past few weeks. What is his energy going to be like, losing that from this Fort Wayne team?
Mike Daly has mentioned that with Homer Bush now moving on to another organization, Kai Murphy and Nick Vogt and
Mears has seen a little bit
and
of playing
Joshua
center.
Mears, they're going to share center field the rest of the way.
Yeah.
So they're all going to get the opportunity. They all can play left, center, or right. And now it's time for them to shine. And we have talked about this before. And Maggie and I have talked about this before. When somebody is either injured or is dealt for any reason whatsoever,
Yeah.
the key phrase in sports today, next man up mentality.
Exactly.
And
Someone's got to fill in.
what
and
that
make it work.
translates into is an opportunity to show what you can do.
Well, this roster, as of late, the team has been struggling. They played 8 games at Parkview Field in the month of July, lost all 8 in front of that home crowd.
I don't think that's happened before in the
Yeah.
history of the ballpark, to not win a single game in 1 month of home games.
Yeah, and small sample size, but nonetheless, 8 games is still sizable. That's still significant enough. That's a losing streak.
We have talked about it a bit before, Drew. The 2 key problems that Fort Wayne has had this year: the inability to deliver runners when they are in scoring position,
Yep.
and the inability to hold on to leads. The Tin Caps have to find a way, somehow. I always use the phrase, hope springs eternal. It's the way I was brought up.
Yeah, it's a good mindset.
Tin Caps still have over 30 games left. It's, how bad do they want it?
Yeah.
Is their heart in it? Can they stay focused?
And I think this team just kind of needs to find an identity. And
They do.
A lot of turnover certainly doesn't help, but every team's going through turnover at this time of year.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, still some time.
Still some time. And even though the Tin Caps are struggling right now, they can still do some positive things.
They can.
And that's why, selfishly, we always ask our listeners, come on out, support the team. We invite everyone to come in and what I call join in on the fun, whether it's what's happening on the field or whether it's what's happening between innings or after the game. Sunday, Military Appreciation Day. It's a
Yeah.
1:05 start. That means a lot to me personally because my father was in the Navy, my brother was in the Marines, my oldest son spent almost 6 years in the Navy. It means a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a chance for all of us to say thank you to any and every member of the military that has served to enable us to enjoy the life that we have here within the borders of the United States. So that's
Yeah.
going to be a big day.
Yeah, this will be an impactful weekend on multiple fronts.
Right.
Getting to see that, but then also getting to see some good baseball, hopefully, and then
Knock on wood
exactly,
from Leica.
and then setting us up for the rest of the season.
Right.
All right, Mike, let's go do it for another edition of TinChattin.